and all the teams, we've got the best of the best from Brazil. And this week is all about the money.
That's right. First place is going to get $4,000. Second place for $2,000. And the top two teams remaining.
Really pulling out the stops here today.
And something about these two teams that's kind of interesting, what I noticed, is the way they kind of transition throughout the weeks. Black Dragons, they lost that finals to ET's Esports, whereas earlier on this week in the top 8, it was actually Noping Esports that took out ET's Esports, so didn't have that rivalry going on for the final rematch.
Right, so now we're going to take a look at Black Dragons, a team that a lot of people should be familiar with. International superstar Kliz is going to be the solo laner there, and then they're going to go up against No Ping, which does have a couple of players that are very strong in their own right. Very excited to see what these teams bring out. Season 5 has brought a plethora of gods. Now, although the SMITE Pro League might be it might be a completely different league than our SGS, interesting stat of note, 70% of gods were selected last week for the Pro League. So anything can happen here.
That's true. There's still a lot of experimentation, not only in the SMITE Global Series, the Pro League, the Minor League, the Console Series, all these teams from all across platforms and regions still trying to figure out what works best for them individually.
Let's take a look at how our teams really got here. Totally kind of talked over it a little bit, but we've got the graphic to go alongside. So you see ET's up there. No Ping is going to go ahead and smack them down. And the Red Lotus team is who Black Dragons fought through to get here at match number 7.
Finals is going to be that Black Dragons against No Ping Esports in a best-of-3 matchup. These picks and bans are going to be very important to determine the winner, because it's not just about what happens at the Battleground of the Gods. It's also what happens behind the scenes. Who does their homework, who studies the opposition better, and takes away those comfort picks.
So Black Dragons coming in, we know that they're going to be looking towards that solo lane. Kliz likes to play some of the more standard selections. So for No Ping, I'm really looking for them to kind of put Black Dragons on their back feet by way of aggression.
Yes, that's something that Kliz is known for, absolutely, especially when Oship in the jungle is piloting either a warrior jungler, maybe he could go for an assassin. That's something that a lot of Season 5 junglers tend to do nowadays, but we got those picks and bans ready.
Yep, let's take a look and see where these teams are going to wind up in our first match. Don't forget, best of 3 here in the finals. So he who winds up on top will wind up with that money. First pick will be Black Dragons, left side of your screen, and also the first ban as well. Really interested to see where they go to ban. We've seen a ton of Thoth bans, almost 100% on that guy, and Habwa, no slash himself, also a frequent ban here.
Despite receiving a little bit of the nerf, and the scaling department still does a lot of base damage, we've seen Habwa being heavily prioritized in Season 5 by some teams, and then not even picked or banned by others. It's just the flavor of the meta for that individual team.
The Giannis ban is interesting. Not a character that we see banned all the time, but from the time this character came out, I've never been offended at the Giannis ban. This guy walks through walls, he's incredibly tough to kill, and more importantly, perhaps, his ultimate will allow his team to walk through walls. And anytime I see a team ban that, Giannis might not be the most powerful character in the meta at that point in time, but he's definitely offensive.
Short enough cooldowns to be able to spam those unstable vortexes, synergize the mobility of his team, accelerated with a threshold, with those portals through space and time, and with the Raven ban, Black Dragons immediately snap locking the Daji.
Daji and Nemesis are perhaps the two go-to junglers right now, and when those characters are left up, almost undoubtedly will they be selected. Daji, just a very, she easily traverses the map, brings a lot of damage, as well as some good control by way of that ultimate. So she'll be in the jungle versus No Ping's Cerberus and Ullr. Ullr and Cerberus, both a little ambiguity there.
I like the damage coming out of No Ping already. Cerberus receiving a little bit of limelight here in Season 5 for multiple reasons, between his kit being flexible, burning the beads multiple times. Not only that, you can flex in between the solo or that Guardian position.
And just like Cerberus can flex, so can Ullr. Not quite always in that long lane, sometimes finds his way over to the mid. Black Dragons, though, Agni selected, that's almost undoubtedly going to be the middle lane, and there's that Nemesis that I talked about. Nemesis is, I think, the premier character when we talk about the 3-item suite in the jungle. Boots, Crusher, Heartseeker. Nemesis uses that perhaps the best with the unmissable ultimate, so she's very, very popular.
Divine Judgment indeed is going to be shorter cooldown once you start getting the Jotun's Wrath. Maybe even can go for more physical power. We haven't really seen too much Transcendence jungle, but that's definitely an option for her as well.
Nuwa is a character that has recently risen to prominence. This god can bring a ton of damage in the late game, a decent amount of control in the late game, and it's itemization that's really brought her there. Soul Gem is really exciting for Nuwa players, and perhaps more importantly, that global vision. So banned out there. We'll take a look as Geb is selected.
And not only that, it's Nuwa that can peel for herself, right? Making it more annoying for Daji to get the damage off whenever having to deal with those clay golems into a huge AoE stun, making you potentially go for a Mad Guy's Cloak, but then you're being reduced in the physical damage department as a result.
Sobek here going to be selected for the solo lane. Guardians have been really prominent over there, and with No Ping's last selection, we'll see if Cerberus is going to wind up in that solo lane as well, because Geb will basically play support Ra in that middle lane. So that's going to be an easy target for Daji. Real confidence play coming out from the Ra player here.
That's true, but keep in mind that No Ping has this Geb, so every time Ra's going to get dove, that shield is going to come out, and the sustain from this composition out of your Chaos squad is going to be very resilient. If this gets to the late game and Nan doesn't have an easy transition from the early game, he's not going to be bringing the impact off of the Geb shield and off of the Ra sustain.
So right here as we get into it, a little bit of history for you folks. Black Dragons is pretty much the premier team in this Brazilian region. Time and time again, we see them not only in their own region, but international play as well. Kliz, Oship, Nan, Pibe, Marcel's. These are all names that we've seen at international land here at Hi-Rez before. These guys have a lot of work and a lot of accomplishments underneath their belts. Across the way, some familiar names. I know Spexzilla, we've seen him here and there, but a lot of these players are a little bit newer, comparatively speaking, to the Black Dragons.
And on the opposite side, he has a buddy, Felzilla. The Godzilla partners right there are going to be in opposite lanes. You know, we always joke around how solos and hunters are like the AFK farming island, and that already goes to show the similarities just off of the teammates, or at least from this team.
Starting builds here. Only thing worth of note that I really want to bring up is this Ra selection here, going to Warlock staff number 2, Sorcerer staff. I learned that name right now. Warlock staff, the rush here is very interesting because Ra can absolutely make use of the 10% CDR that the Mage's blessing is going to bring, but instead, just going for the rush, he wants to get those stacks online very quickly because he knows he's going to be a prime target for Oship's Daji.
It's a win-lose situation because now having to wait for this 1,300 gold to complete the item, like you were talking about before, you're not having MP5 from Mage's Blessing, you're not going to be able to really do as much damage as you would like earlier on off of your abilities dealing extra damage. So that's why they're grouping together with the Hunter, leaving the Geb support to soak up all that dual lane farm.
Red buff, Invade, coming out from Daji, chasing away the players from No Ping, and with a little bit of help from the duo lane, that red buff will be successfully invaded by Black Dragons. Nice use of the aggression. Pibe and Marcel's definitely are going to have control over this lane, even against the Uller. But the reason they were able to execute so high was Uller wasn't even there.
That's true. Uller was just staggering a little bit too hard there. But in a 4v2 situation, look at what the Nemesis is doing. Right side being very aggressive, steals away the speed buff. A great start here for him, or at least not stealing it away, but just making this presence in the back Harpies.
And very interesting starts here. So I think the standard traditional start is for the mid laner to go help his jungler with the speed. But Laudark goes and does that, and see No Ping do the opposite. Not quite the opposite, but they answer back by putting their Hunter in the mid lane, forcing this pressure out before Ra even gets there. That opens the door for Nemesis to go and be able to invade on that right side. So a little bit of they knew that they were going to be eaten on the left, so they go ahead and beat on the right.
And just putting the jungler's builds under the microscope is a slightly different start. Tier 1 Morningstar from Oship, whereas the Nemesis going for that heavy mace. It's probably going to be the difference of Crusher versus the Heartseeker.
Exactly, and the Transcendence build on Oship versus Jules is really just the difference between these two characters. Daji's going to look to jump on you and kill you right away from the early parts of the game, whereas Nemesis can't do that until a little bit later. She's going to look for those 2 items that I talked about earlier on. So Oship just looking for damage pretty much right away. The boots will come first. Walking around is definitely more important as a jungler, but that Transcendence will be very important.
So I actually said that it was going to be the Heartseeker, but actually keep in mind that that's not the tier 1 version of it. That's more likely going to be either the Hydra's Limit or the Transcendence that we were known to seeing in Season 5. Having that 10% cooldown reduction would be very interesting to see coming out of Daji, but Hydra's Limit wouldn't be a bad idea either, getting extra burst damage in between her abilities.
Usually we see both on Daji. They're both very powerful items. The Hydra's Lament is going to be able to just, like you said, amplify that burst that she already has a heck of a ton of. So right side, another invade coming out, successfully done by the Nemesis. And that'll strip the blue buff away from Kliz, who at level 4 kind of needs it. But as soon as he gets 5, not so much.
Very true. Guardian versus Guardian, whoever gets the both blue buffs gets the slight edge. That's why we're seeing here level 5 on Speczilla. You're talking about level 5 Sobek not needing mana, and that's simply because he gets a lot of mana regen during lurking in the water. So that's why he's so popular since the inception of the solo lane. He has to sustain with the Sickening Strike, that third ability, and to also get that, apply that anti-healing, and then tops himself off with the ultimate for that mana regen.
Another character that drastically changes at 5 is Agni. He's got next to no pressure in that middle lane. But as long as he's able to tread water until he gets those bombs online, he's absolutely fine. So Ra, not his favorite matchup, but here, everything's all even now after he has those bombs.
And it's going to be an interesting disparity between these two mid laners. You were talking about the Warlock staff rush and having to actually invest into tier 2 boots because he didn't get his red buff initially. So this means without the mobility, this Ra, even though he does have passive extra movement speed, is still going to be in a weird position if he ever gets engaged on.
Oship looking for the first blood. No stun coming out from the Anhur. Marcel's a little bit off the mark, so that won't be a kill right there, but a pull onto the support and the knockup. And P-Bay with the dot gets the kill, but the damage all done by Marcel's. Great control from the jungle gank out of Oship.
The way you really pilot this Daji ultimate, sometimes you don't have to use the second and the third chain if you already connect with the first one. Apply the pull and cancel your ultimate before any sort of cleanses occur. Now, the Get wasn't level 5, so he didn't have that CC immunity, but it's still not a bad idea just to get him back as soon as possible because he was in the middle of the rollout. The second portion of that rollout would have cleansed it.
I do like that Black Dragons are able to get that kill despite the fact that they didn't really execute the way they wanted to. The original plan, I think, was to look for Felzilla, but Marcel's doesn't nail the Pillar Impale.
Well, doesn't really matter though because the Ullr had to kind of disengage under his tower. You're going to lose a little bit of gold. Not as much as he would have in Season 4, but at the end of the day, first blood is first blood, no matter which way you look at it. Did go to P-Bay, the Sylvanas support, but still not a bad look considering with Season 5 Guardians rushing for this Gauntlet of Thieves. It's a race between these Guardians to see who gets this item first and then who completes all 50 stacks afterwards.
That's very true, and looking at his build right here, just the Guardian's Blessing from the Sylvanas. Can we actually see the sprint real quick? I think that's an upgraded one as well. It will be. Spent the extra cash at the beginning of the game, allowing himself to, whenever he wants, Marcel's is going to basically murder somebody. That sprint gives his hunter the Fatalis effect, and at his choosing, Marcel's can go chase somebody down like Scotty's dog.
And not just him, but also onto P-Bay Sylvanas' basic attacks. Black Dragons feeling very confident going for a 6-minute Gold Fury.
There's no info. There's no info. Nobody from No Ping understands that this Gold Fury was going down. We saw Nemesis come through to the Oracles earlier, and then she walked away. They're tough to kill by yourself. Black Dragons hits those Oracles, walks away, and then realizes nobody's here.
Great communication from Black Dragons all across the board. They witnessed the backing of Ra having to get the Warlock staff completed. And that is the call being made by such an experienced and tenured team as Black Dragons.
Yeah, it's all about the timing. And, you know, watching No Ping up here, I like what they've been able to do, be able to answer the invade with invades of their own. But those timings, Toli, those are the next step you take as a team.
Especially without a Ra. You don't have to worry about the Celestial Beam, Searing Pain combination. That can leave Nan to just freely drop all 3 bombs there, dealing a good amount of damage as long as you have that passive. You're having Mage's Blessing just to amplify with all your abilities on top of the Agni passive.
Look at this rotation here. Cerberus got really excited to walk into the blue buff, and this blue buff has been invaded the past 2 exchanges. Nan comes down to the right-hand side expecting the invade, and good communication from No Ping because Speczilla would have been caught with his pants down. 3 different members of Black Dragons were on their way, including the solo lane.
It's usually super risky proxying between the tier 1 and tier 2 the way that Speczilla was doing there, but because he had that advantage from previous lanes, being able to invade the blue buff multiple times, giving him this 1-level lead, he felt confident that maybe he could poke his head around the corner. When you proxy, you get about a 30-second window to kind of play around with, whether you want to invade back Harpies, whether you want to invade the blue buff. But with Golfier being down, there's no reason for Black Dragons to be on the left side of the map, so now they can finally assist Kliz and secure his own blue.
What makes that wave so much different than the others to proxy farm?
It's simply because it's the solo lane matchup. The Guardian or Warrior, whatever's there, has Warrior's Blessing, more difficult to kill and lock down. Cerberus has the CC immune ultimate, could pull you and push you away from him and just slow you down with a ghastly breath. So it's almost like a mental distraction, kind of like a mental roadblock, saying like, oh man, if I gank the solo laner and I don't find the kill, I've just wasted about 30 seconds of my time where I could have been farming on the left side of the map in the mid lane potentially, whereas the enemy jungler spent all their time farming and has a huge experience per minute advantage.
Right now, it's all about the left side of the map. A lot of pressure coming out from Black Dragons, and in even the tower damage. Black Dragons have been able to poke that tier 1 down about half HP because Geb has been focused elsewhere.
Sitting at level 5, 2 levels behind P-Bay. Not a really good look from the Geb support, but also upgrading his sprint. He has reinforced shoes, which is a nice look considering that there's a lot of damage over time all across the board from Black Dragons. Daji, Agni passive, Sylvanas, Wisps, and Wrath of Terror. Not to mention also this on her Desert Fury. I'm actually surprised that even Dente doesn't go for Warrior's Blessing himself, trying to be surviving a little bit harder in these team fights.
Well, right now I don't blame him for going the Guardian's Blessing. He's already behind, right? Give him any tool he can get to kind of keep treading water. Because if you look at the net worth right here on the left-hand side of the screen, you see the disparity between the two supports. That's 1,000 gold in the lead for that guy, and even the experience going to tell a tale as well. Left side Harpy is going to be ran away, and now P-Bay looking for some more action. Nice knock-up. Press L for love as Marcel's gets stuck in the mud.
Trying to go for a Desert Fury follow-up. The Geb shield was used on Dente as he disengages. Sprit being popped. They want to disengage. P-Bay taking a good amount of damage here, but a beautiful knockback. Here comes Daji.
Help from both friends as Nemesis takes the short way in and puts damage on top of P-Bay. Nice pull on top of the mid lane mage. Doesn't have the impale available, but the jump will be good. Nan takes care of one. O-Ship takes care of the other. And now Yules is stuck in between a bad spot. There's the tree man. Can he cut him down? Dashing away, looking for the safety. The impale is great, and so is the fire. 4 zip. Make that 5 as Nan finishes off the double une and takes it for himself.
A 4-0 after an epic 4-on-4 battle. 11 minutes into the game, Black Dragons win that one very convincingly, I would say. O-Ship did get very low, almost fell, but didn't even have to use purification beads for anything. The searing pain coming from Ludark didn't prove to be fruitful.
This is rough. O-Ship's going to just barely avoid that ultimate. That's unfair. Like the juke pattern, but Speczilla's going to be able to get the kill anyway. Rotation from the solo lane. Takes a little bit of poke.
That's the unfortunate thing about Cerberus. You can see somebody coming, they're in your ultimate range, and then all of a sudden they're out of your line of sight because they turn around a corner. Daji, so quick on her feet with the speed buff, and also now going for that tier 2 Heartseeker.
Tough stuff for Black Dragons. It's funny to say that after they take the 4 for nothing, but there is nothing to get after the fact. If that fight, Tully, happens 10 seconds later, they were able to go to the Gold Fury. 20 seconds was left on that Gold Fury respawn timer when everything was said and done. If they had to wait there for 5 seconds, that's an easy wait and burn it down. Waiting there for 20 seconds is going to put them in a bad spot with everybody respawning. So nice discipline from Black Dragons to just say, you know what, that sucks. We can't get anything more. Couldn't even get the tower because the minion wave wasn't there.
You know, I always said the universe has a funny way of working itself out, and that doesn't really change at the battleground of the gods. Black Dragons just sentry warding around this gold here. They have a very comfortable gold and experience lead. Almost 2 levels all across the board between their jungle, to their hunter position from top to bottom. Solo lane's a little bit of a different story, but out of Kliz is so big solo, he'll be fine once he transitions with some items.
Felzilla gonna jump over the tree and get knocked up himself, and Marcel's plays aggressive, free safety, and blocks the rotation coming out from Denty. Interesting, that's an interesting take on the gank right there.
It's good damage. The knockup guarantees all 8 impales from the Desert Fury. It's an easy guarantee. It's a similar story to where you get a Geb Cataclysm into the knockup. Black Dragons want to go for this. The bombs are coming out, and they secured their second Gold Fury of the game 13 minutes in.
And they're going to find a follow-up kill. Nemesis has no way out. And it looks like the young Uller might actually meet his maker here. No tower dive. A little bit too early, but the Gold Fury goes the way of Black Dragons, and everything interconnected as we see a 4,000 gold lead from Black Dragons. Let me break this one down for you guys. The Sentry Ward gets dropped on Gold Fury. It gets taken away. No Ping sees that. They rotate to make sure that nobody's doing the Gold Fury, where P-Bay ults the Hunter on the left-hand side, enforcing that rotation to go to the duo lane. But guess what? Marcel is sitting there waiting because they set that trap up to intercept whoever shows up, whether it be the mid laner or the support. They get the kill. They get the Gold Fury. That was a plan from the time they dropped the damn ward. Love to see this foresight, man.
Black Dragons are just outplaying No Ping Esports tactically with their positioning, with their rotations, counter rotations. It doesn't seem that there could be any easy targets now from No Ping. They could just hope for a better counter gank more than anything.
Ouch, Agni lighting this guy on fire. Marcel's playing left side. I'm not calling him playing the Hunter. He has been in this left side jungle just as much as he's been in the lane, and he's protecting himself. He's his own jungler here. Marcel's is really having a nice game, and it's less to do about the individual 1v1, I'm pushing my buttons well, and for me, more about where he's positioning himself on the map to find these opportunities.
He's also getting really good setup from P-Bay, honestly. These Wrath of Terrors, the pulls have been solid.
Yep.
The rotation from O-Ship certainly forced a lot of issues in the duel and getting that 4-for-0 trade, and he's just leaning. He's just chilling, honestly. This is what Hunters are tending to do in Season 5 because of how difficult it is to deal with some of these assassins. So whichever jungler makes the rotation happen first, that's where the other Hunter is going to be in a better spot.
That's why I loved that play around the Gold Fury, because it was the anticipation of the gank. P-Bay actually blows the ultimate as a bluff. Right? P-Bay ults the Uller as a bluff to force the rotation, and Marcel's just sitting there like, I know you're coming down this block, and guess who's in the alley?
O-Ship doing a little bit of damage here, gonna get stunned out though, goes in the Powwow, trying to find multiple members on the pole, does get one, Desert Fury coming out, almost taking out Belzilla.
But there's the knockup, and Marcel's changes targets to Denty, putting the Geb Man in the ground. Another beautiful pull by P-Bay. Marcel's not ready to deal the damage, unfortunately. So his team walks away from the enemy jungle, now retreating to safety.
Good defensive pluck against Spexzilla, not allowing him to find this rotation and maybe taking out Marcel's. Really aggressive positioning there does pay out at the long run, taking the life of Denty yet again with 4 deaths, working and finishing off of that Pestilence. Has some magical defense and some health. Not too much physical defense, though, to speak of. This Daji and Anhur combination is just proving to be really troublesome for him. Keep in mind the Anhur passive, that Enfeeble. 20 protection shred after getting hit by that basic attack.
Yeah, the Daji has been really powerful. I mean, 2-on-2 on the slash line, and just like the city it represents, she ain't never sleeping. All over this map, 50% of the kills she's had her hands on here, and O-Ship has just looked so clean. I mean, this Daji does so much damage and has enabled the other players to really wind up where they're at. 3-0-2 doesn't happen for Non without O-Ship playing in this mid lane.
They're looking for another play around this Pyromancer. No Ping Esports has the raw Searing Pain available, but Black Dragons are in position to stop this from happening on the right side of the map. Even dropping a Sentry Ward on those bottom right mid Harpies. They are so good this game with their wards.
There's the pluck into the slam. Spexzilla able to jump away. Good doggo. Gonna grab one with the ultimate and actually force out Daji's.
The pull is good.
Yep, that's gonna be one Spexzilla surrounded and pounded. Marcel's on the good side, 3, 0, and 5. Throws the spears out, looking for the damage, and P-Bay playing body blocker. Love it, gets the stun. Left side, Kliz gets another. Down goes the mid lane mage for No Ping Esports.
Forcing the beats from Felzilla. Beautiful pluck from Kliz. It's a 2-0. The mid mage is down, so no Searing Pain to be able to steal away the Pyromancer, and not much frontline presence with Spexzilla down again. Kliz looking for the potential plug. Ullr does not have bees as None zones away Jules in the mid lane.
Yeah, nice zoning coming out from this Black Dragons unit right now. Kliz zoning one player, Kliz zoning the rest of the team, while Non zones one player in the mid lane. The Portal Demon, or the artist formerly known as the Portal Demon, the Pyromancer, will go down, as will the Tier 1 tower. And it looks like the Gold Fury is going to be next on the menu. Black Dragons playing hungry as hell.
They're just on point with their objective calls. Not only are they getting this Gold Fury Pyromancer on lockdown, but before even doing this objective right here, they were communicating with what they wanted to do. They ran towards Gold Fury, and then they did a stutter step. They're like, oh wait, it's still not coming up for about 5 seconds. Let's squeeze in a Tier 1 mid tower in between and steal away the red buff from No Ping Esports. Not gonna allow Ludark a lot of damage with his abilities.
This is a well-oiled machine, Tully. Watching this team is really a pleasure. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think that Brazil, specifically this team, is a little bit ahead of some of the other international scenes.
I could definitely see that, especially with how much international experience Black Dragons has, showing up to the spring split, showing up to multiple lands of last season, able to really try to learn a little bit more from some of these North American and European teams. It definitely looks like it's panning out for at least internally within their region, because keep in mind, we're in the week 4 of this phase 1 of the Brazilian Global Series. The previous 3 weeks, this is the top 8 teams currently, and these are your top 2 teams in the finals.
Yeah, don't forget, the winner of this match will bring home $4,000, and the second place, of course, the loser, will take home $2K. So definitely a little bit of money riding on this one. Dodging a little bit of an interesting circumstance here on the right side, but Spexzilla looking at that giant dog, I think he's a little more scared of her than she is of him at this point.
Geb Shield needs to negate a lot of this damage coming from Non, and that's the scary part. If you're using a Geb Shield to cleanse some damage from the Agni, well, he has 2 more bombs afterwards.
Look at this player mismatch, though. There's 4 players already here on the right side, just ready to take care of this Tier 1 solo tower. And that's exactly what will happen. Marcel's lagging a little bit behind, looking for stragglers to pin in the jungle, or just off of the knockup from P-Bay. There's the ultimate. All of the spears get the bad guy, and Ludark gonna take a seat. Spexzilla could be next. There's the damage again. P-Bay winds up with it. That's going to be kill number 2 for the support Sylvanas. Kliz controlled, but with the thorns on it, dealing damage back to the opponent. Yule's underneath the tower, going to be dodgy. Taken out by it. Felzilla gets the credit. So Black Dragons push up the Tier 1 tower, but their eyes are a little bit bigger than their stomach, folks. And they do wind up losing a member as they try to push down the Tier 2.
Oh, Ship, a little too ambitious for his own good. He had the tower aggro, and he also allowed the Nemesis to heal off of her own shield. That's the one problem with Dodgy. You have the bleeding effect, so once you apply that dot, you just pop the Nem shield, and as a Dodgy, you can't cancel the Nem shield with any form of CC. You need somebody else to do it for you. So Jules was able to heal himself, top himself off, kind of dance around the Tier 2 tower, and unfortunately for Black Dragons, they didn't really communicate who had the tower aggro, but at the end of the day, that was a 1 for 2. They got off a lot of damage there for some multiple relics, and they feel confident going for this Fire Giant 21 minutes in.
Nobody's here. This Fire Giant's just going to Black Dragons. There's really nothing that's going to happen here from No Ping. And so with Fire Giant, we're likely to see the right side lane push up. I think that's where the minions are furthest played out. Or the full retreat and the opposite, where you go all the way to the left lane. Huh.
Yeah.
Looks like that's the call.
They're not committing at all to that Tier 1 dual lane tower. They definitely had an opportunity there. There was no vision, unfortunately, for No Ping Esports, and that's the one downfall of being behind collectively as a team. You're going to get outwarded. So what do you need to do? You need to drop sentry wards in the correct placement. The communication from all your teammates needs to be on point. As soon as you see a ward, and you have to think to yourself, like, is this ward worth countering? Because you can't counter ward every single ward. 120 gold to counter ward, 50 gold for a regular one. Oshep though, ooh, beautifully timed jump during the teleport of Daji will disjoint that connection.
Not able to catch up there. The 4-1 split, the Hunter on the left side, the rest of the team in this mid lane. Although the rotation seems to be full force here to the left side tower. Tier 2 going to go down without a fight. And Black Dragon's going to group up for yet another push after their Tier 2 in the mid lane. Kliz trying to control things, but here comes the team-wide flank. Oship over the top. 3 players are going to go ahead and get stunned. There's Kliz trying to find a pluck target. And the mid lane mage could control down south. Down goes Jules, and a little bit of help from Spexzilla. Grabbing 2 and putting them under the tower, but it's the 2 tanky characters, so not a care in the world for Black Dragons. Still standing, 5 players strong, and no ping, only got 3.
Kliz just saved none on multiple occasions. The tail flip to prevent the ultimate after the blink was so clutch. Spexzilla could not do anything. Another pluck coming onto Ludark. That's 3 dead members from No Ping Esports. Jumping in is Marcel's. Geb gonna have to defensively blink away.
Really nice blink there, just finding that window of opportunity right before he gets hit by the basic attack from Marcel's. All of the aggression winds up in a nice mid lane Phoenix. And don't forget, Marcel's did the dirty work earlier on. So no tower here on the left side means that Black Dragons can go directly for the Phoenix.
15-2 at 24 minutes. Mid Phoenix fell, left side going down as well, making the Titan a little more vulnerable. The Fire Giant still around their waist for another minute and a half. They can easily transition to the right side of the map here. Oship is already thinking that way as he's pushed out one wave. Gonna go straight to the Pyromancer, really min-maxing every single objective for the Black Dragon squad.
And I love this play. That was a really nice Fire Giant push, but understanding, look how much gold is in that. Oh, Daji's gonna die!
He couldn't get it in time.
Nah,
he does teleport away. That's so unfortunate. Unlike Portal Demon of Season 4, Pyromancer actually hurts not only yourself, but also your teammates. There is that AoE basic attack, and without lifesteal in your kit or in your item build, chances are, even as a level 19, level 20 Daji, you're not going to be able to solo that objective.
Oship watching too much Wolf of Wall Street. Greed isn't that good. That play was a little ambitious, if I'm going to be polite about it. But the Gold Fury does go down, and what I was talking about was the push for the mid lane and the left lane was excellent. Had Black Dragons wanted to go and look for the right Phoenix, they also have another tower to go for and didn't have minions. So the better play was to go ahead, because don't forget, after the tier 2 towers, you're getting 1,500 per tower per player, or for the team. And then the Phoenixes as well. Hit the Gold Fury and go home. Honor had 3,000 gold after that exchange, before the Gold Fury even went down. So I like that retreat, even though they had the Fire Giant and they kind of wasted that second half.
Sure.
I'm okay with how they wasted it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you got to be able to just min-max every sort of opportunity you have. Unfortunately for Oship, couldn't execute that last in-hand before Jules came right around the corner. Did have to blink, though. So not going to be able to have it for this defense here. Mid lane, Oship finding the easy pick.
And now the end, this is just the end, because it's a 5-on-4 here at Atoli. 4 players left to play defense on the right-hand side, and everybody looking at the Firebird.
Side. Phoenix, though, is going to be in a lot of trouble. Like you mentioned, it's a 5-on-4. Searing Pain comes out, does a little bit of damage. Oship in trouble. The pull is so good, though, once a Spexzilla. Jules gets taken out by Kliz.
And now just 3 players to play defense. There is one of them. Gab's going to roll out, and he will escape. Both Phoenixes in the middle and left are down, and so is the right side. All that remains is the Titan. And here in game number 1, Black Dragons, they've got the tools, they've got the levels, they've got the items, they've got the game. The Titan's going to go down here, and Black Dragons take game number 1.
Really clean performance here from BD. 17-2, 26.5 minutes into this game. And this is a best of 3 time, and this Black Dragon squad that looked a little shaky in week number 1, I would say, of this first phase, are definitely here to play in the final week.
Yeah, this is week number 1. I had some reservations. I was like, I don't know what these guys are doing. Week 2, I think I'm going home early. These guys made really clean work of their opposition, and honestly, it's going to be really tough to see No Ping fight back into this one.
That's true. I think giving up Daji at the beginning of the picks and bans was interesting because they banned away Robin instead. Another tanky jungler that was very popular in Season 4, kind of popular by some teams in Season 5, specifically out of Team Dignitas, Rival as well, playing it every now and then, and mostly European teams. But Black Dragons learning from it, I think that was a wise choice, but they couldn't play around it. They didn't have that much disruption to stop the bleeding.
I think they were more concerned. Oship piloting that Robin is kind of a quintessential pairing, so taking that away, not just because it's a powerful pick, but also a personal pick for the enemy jungler. Game number 2, picks and bans coming right at you here as we move on in our SMITE Global Series. Changes you want to see in the pick bans? You mentioned the Daji a little bit.
Yes.
Does that mean you want to see that banned?
I would say so, but with them being first pick, just leave it open for yourself, look for some other opportunities. And the thing about Ullr is it's such a love-hate relationship that a lot of these teams have. We saw them in the beginning of the laning phase. They had a little bit of pressure, but then as soon as that jungler presence was felt, what can an Ullr do to survive against a Daji without any sort of natural CC immunity?
I really and truly think that Ullr is not the character that he was previously. I think that there are other selections to look for because his character, we've seen him picked, and he's just not bringing that bang. So
I think he's just a pub stomp god, honestly. He does the damage, sure. If you're better than your opposition, you'll get the kill, and sure, you'll get the tower, but what happens if somebody rotates to your lane? Can you 1v2 and get away safely? The answer is probably not.
Well, Daji going to be banned out by Black Dragons, despite the fantastic play that Oship had. Doesn't want to see it on the other side. So no ping get first selection, and it's going to be the Nemesis that we see selected here. Black Dragons option over to them. Cerberus for likely Kliz. Again, this is usually the solo lane, but can be played in the Guardian role. And then following that up will be the Agni for the mid lane. Nan
did a great job last game. No reason to not run that back yet again. It makes it more difficult for any mid-mage to really position themselves. But with Discordia's having that immunity frames during her jump, you can at least avoid some of the bomb stuns. You can reduce a lot of your cooldowns.
But at the same time, the Agni bomb is the size of her invisibility cloud.
That's why it's going to be a game of chicken. Discordia needs to wait for the first bomb to use that cloud to get away.
Ullr will be the selection again for no ping. Camazotz is going to be in the hands of Oship, another character that's been widely prioritized here in Season 5. And for if I were to venture a guess, I think it's because of the Transcendence.
Yes.
Camazotz scales over 100% on some of his abilities. So Transcendence being the highest physical power you can get, woof.
And on top of that, it actually could still be in the solo lane with Cerberus being in the support position. It's still a lot of question marks in the draft from Black Dragons before we go into the game and see what at least the next 2 picks are.
No ping want to ban Marcel's away from that on her that he just played, and Soul is just very prominent right now. So nice bans coming out from No Ping, in my opinion. We'll take a look at this 4th selection for BD. And Sylvanas, P-Bay, I think he missed 1 pull that we watched out of the entire game. So, yeah, give him the tree.
Wrath of Terror just so effective. The Gep did work on the side of No Ping, but the Capri is an interesting look, trying to keep his teammates alive and also enable the Nemesis backline penetration even further.
You know, Cyrus, another interesting pick. A god that we've seen a little bit less of in Season 5 than we have in Season 4. Don't worry, Totally. I'm going to touch upon that. I'm going to ask you to answer all the questions when we get in game about that solo lane matchup. But Rom will be the hunter of choice for Marcel's. Rom, not exactly the hunter, the #1 hunter in Season 5, but going back historically, Marcel's on this Rom has literally won entire sets for his team with this character alone. Really excited to see him on his, not his namesake, but his go-to character.
It also helps the fact that Sylvanas is being played by P-Pay. It just getting the ROM out of that early level 1, level 2 struggle. AoE basic attacks from that support is going to probably help them out-clear No Ping Esports. Denti on this Capri. Both supports upgrading their sprint. I think the cameraman is triggered.
Our observer is pointing out the fact that Kliz puts his starter item in the 2nd slot, and no game impact whatsoever. But Kliz has been doing this forever. It's just a little flavor thing, something that sets him apart from the crowd.
Man, I feel really bad for the people out there with the OCD.
Zeros, the mid laner for Team Dignitas over in European SPL, mixes his. He starts with 2 items, but he puts the starter item in the 2nd slot as well.
I think in Season 4, you used to be able to put it in the 3rd.
Yep.
Because boots were only 300 gold back then, so you could get a tiny trinket. You can get boots 1 that's 850 gold. Actually, pretty close, though.
Let's talk about stuff that impact the game, though. Talk to me about this solo lane start here coming out from the Osiris in the enemy jungle.
Hold that thought, though. Felzilla already less than half health.
Astral arrows right through the body block, man.
Those AoE basic attacks from Sylvanas just add up, and even the Khepri passive shield that generates every 5 seconds or so is not enough to stop the pressure from Black Dragons. They are already in position to potentially invade the purple, but look where the Nemesis is. Jules is rotating to grab her own red buff, but the blink was used. She used it trying to cut the distance.
Yeah, not going to be able to help out on that left side, I don't think.
She didn't get the level 2 there because she shared speed buff with Discordia. Normally when you do the start, you want to solo speed buff, solo red buff, hit level 2, and gank the dual lane. But it doesn't seem that No Ping Esports were either aware of this tactic or were comfortable executing it to stop the invade from BD.
Yeah, not going to be the play there. Meanwhile, right side, as Kliz is going to go aggress on the opposition and able to steal away that blue buff. Nicely done. Interesting play here, and I love the way this works out because this is not how it's quote-unquote supposed to happen,
Sure.
right?
This is the reasoning of, or the results rather, of the jungler's start. Oship did rotate to the blue buff, gave Kliz his own blue buff, allowed him to hit level 2 first after the first wave. If you're solo the first wave entirely and then share the big blue buff minion, you're going to hit level 2, you can make the impact there. Normally it's the Osiris that's just left-clicking you left, right, and center, but not going to be able to execute his own blue buff.
All right, that's what we saw, the relinquishing of the lane. Kliz knew that he was going to lose this early lane to Speczilla, so he just went right to his buff. Osiris read that, though, and followed him to the buff and said, okay, I know you're going to give up this lane, so let me hit you at your own buff, but because of Oship's presence, like you mentioned, Osiris was chased out. And then Kliz able to walk and take the enemy's blue buff. Really cute stuff.
Slightly bigger net worth as a result, but nothing too crazy at the moment. Actually, Osiris doing a good job out-clearing for the moment. And this is something where Guardians kind of struggle just to be able to out-clear. Those 3 archers still stand strong for Speczilla, but not having the mana for this next important wave. Once he gets the 40 mana, though, from the Warrior's Blessing every 10 seconds, that kind of helps a little bit. But in the long run, this is what Kliz is going to do. He's going to be able to drop that paralyzing spit after reducing your magical protection.
Oh, the pull! PB's so on the money! And Ludark needs some help, but he won't get it. Oship capitalizes off the fantastic support play, puts one down. Now Black Dragon surrounding the opposition. 4 players in the left side jungle. They're going to be able to take this red buff, despite what Uller has to say.
Oship not going to get hit by that axe stun. Having to even use more mana just to jump away, as if he wasn't behind enough as it is. A little bit behind in the stacking department. Another pull! Going to force out the beads very early on, trying to go for the purple buff invade. They were successful, and No Ping not getting any sort of luck here in their duel lane.
Man, PB out of control. This Sylvanas is really hot.
On the mark. 2 times in a row. Red buff, purple buff pulls, forcing in very early purification beads. And PB's about to hit level 5. As soon as that Wrath of Terror comes online, it's going to guarantee the next pull.
Yeah, PB has always been a strong player. Like I said, these 5 Black Dragons guys. Marcel's joining the team a little bit later, but these 5 guys have all been very, very popular in the Brazilian scene for good reason. And PB really, I mean, his heart was in that pull.
Absolutely. Unlike some other players, Jules is going to have invaded his left side mid Harpies. Great bomb coming from Nan. He's been on the mark with the timing as well. Almost finishing off his boots. Not going to go for the Warlock Staff Rush compared to the Raw last game that Ludark was playing. Wanting to finish off those boots first for good reason. Discordia with cooldown reduction, not a bad thing.
Right, she's going to be able to grab that CDR. And also, I mean, just you need to get out of the way. Camazotz is going to hurt you. That ultimate, any movement speed you've got, certainly a good look.
P-Bay has now joined up with Nani. Could look for some more pulls. The Aegis was used from Ludark in that previous engagement. But without a blink, it's going to be difficult to kind of position yourself around the Discordia, especially if her escape is available. Jules securing his own speed buff, but Oship right around the corner, trying to go on Arc.
And Ludark gets combined on. Wow, 3 different players show up and put him in the ground.
Didn't even have time to throw that golden apple of Discord. Luckily, still securing their own red buff, but not before taking a lot of damage in return. And here comes the tier 2 tower dive, but it's not going to be the mid. They're trying to go for the dual lane instead.
Black Dragons should not be able to do this. There is no punishment. P-Bay is going to use the knockup, finds 1 player dead already. Oship gets credit for it. Now the golden apple will shove a little bit off, but Marcel's from the sky makes it rain, and Kepri feels the pain again. 4 unanswered kills in the early game from Black Dragons.
So unfortunate for Denti, only sitting at level 4. It's going to be a free kill for the Kepri every single time, not having that Scarab's Blessing, and Black Dragons just unrelenting in their pressure. However, in the solo lane, Spexzilla now hitting level 7. It's all about how well you time your backs, and now having a slight edge there with a couple of health chalice stacks is going to be able to out-pressure Kliz on the Cerberus.
Yeah, 6 minutes in, and Black Dragons already have the wind in their sails. 2,000 gold in the lead are the Brazilian legends. Really impressive stuff coming out from Black Dragons today.
In the solo lane, there is a bit of a disparity experience-wise, but the rest of Kliz's team is certainly benefiting. Like we were talking about before in the first game where it was a Sobek matchup against the Cerberus. Kliz was struggling a little bit. Nothing really different here. He's not getting the matchup advantage that he really wants. So he's putting himself purposely in a losing matchup just to ensure he's going to have better control than Spexzilla once these teamfights really start rolling around. Cerberus having so much control between the Ghastly Breath Slow, that Stygian pull as well.
Again, aggression from Black Dragons. The timers are good. The red buff will be the focal point for Black Dragons. All 4 members on this side of the map will be here and present. Osiris is going to make the rotation, so Black Dragons have to hurry up. P-Bay again finds a knockup. Nan again finds the bombs. Oship going to take 1. Marcel's going to take the other. The combination of abilities just too strong here. P-Bay knocks him up, and the carries knock him down. 2 players down means a window wide open.
If nobody's going to go on to Nan in the backline, then Black Dragons are destined to win every one of these little jungle skirmishes. Bombs raining from through the walls is enabling Black Dragons from playing this aggressive. And on top of all these pools that are being dropped after the deaths, all the damage being dealt onto Oship is negated once he just kind of chills and soaks that up.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Agni's been able to do. Just 2,300 damage, largely from positions where he can't be damaged himself, which is just the key. Nan with the fantastic mid lane prowess has been able to make quick work of Ludark. She's 2 levels down compared to where Nan's at, so Ludark just, oh man, she needs help from the jungler. Nemesis has been elsewhere when this 2-level disparity can't happen any longer, but I mean, look at the Hunter lane. It's also there. And look at the jungle. It's also there. Whose job is it to stop the bleeding?
Honestly, it's got to be a combined effort. If you can't stop the red buff invade, look for something else on the opposite side of the map. There's a lot of pressure that Spexzilla is applying onto Kliz. Maybe have a Nemesis gank him there instead, forcing out the ultimate. Don't allow the Cerberus any sort of breathing room or early transitions from that laning phase. There can definitely be a lot of kills there.
And without a doubt, we've seen half a dozen from Black Dragons already. No Ping has to find some way to answer back. The Nemesis might be the answer, but right now, she's got to put her head down.
Yeah.
Or rather, the Nemesis has to put his head down and just look for the farm. Just stop ganking right now.
That's true. With the Discordia passive, it's the Osiris that gets the full benefit from all that extra physical power. So you use that to your advantage. Have the Nemesis gank and reduce some of those protections, eliminate some of the health. Missed pluck, though. It's going to be an easy target now onto Dente.
Nice knock up, and there's the better pull, and PB gets credited for once for his own actions. Ludark, however, she tosses the apple out and grabs one, finally getting her team on the board. 1-7 so far for No Ping. There's the jump away, the little bat jump, though. Trouble, surrounded, and Felzilla will act and put O-Ship back to base.
Spexzilla making a clutch rotation. Not sure if there was a disconnect there between Kliz and the rest of his team, but that was a huge turning point. The bombs and then being set up from the sky. Marcel's rains it down along his fire mid laner. Perfect cleanup kill onto Ludark that had to use that Aegis earlier on.
Black Dragons have that laser targeter from the super advanced Modern Warfare, you know, where you just, all right, we're going to target one thing and then all hell rains from the sky. Felzilla, hoping that he's not going to get rained on, knows that there's no ultimate, but Marcel's doesn't need to clean that shot up.
Can't hide between your melee minions or the archers against Rom. Those astral arrows not only going to go through those minions, but also going to slow you down in the process.
Felzilla, man, he made such a nice play earlier that I didn't want to call the get solo. I really just, I liked what Uller did in the exchange right before that to get his team the secondary kill, but unfortunately does fall down in the 1v1 versus Marcel's. Okay, that, again, P-Bay that time was on the right. He guessed the juke, but was out of range. It's unreal, the hot reads coming out from this Sylvanas player today.
And even if you don't necessarily connect on those pulls, if you force the Discordia third ability just off of the pull alone, the rest of the team can easily capitalize, and stealing yet again another red buff. Black Dragons basically set up a tent here in the dual lane of No Ping Esports.
Every red buff outside of the first one has belonged to Black Dragons.
Yep.
Nemesis was able to get his first red buff and dropped it for Ludark, and she used it in the mid lane. And since then, ain't nobody getting red. Black Dragons are 4 players deep every respawn of that buff camp.
O-Ship is even picking up the red buff in return. His speed buff is not available quite yet. 3-on-2 in the mid lane. Spexzilla needs to disengage there for the moment. Both ultimates got traded out there, and that's why.
There's the jump away, and Felzilla in trouble, but Spexzilla.
Oof, if that was a stun, that was a guaranteed kill. That probably was either 2 or 3 of the little projectiles.
Couldn't find the backstep.
That's right. Needs to get at least 25 or 30 minimum range.
Oh, I like this rotation from Discordia. Pops it and forces the ultimate out of the Batman. Chasing him down, though, is Nemesis. Nice basic attack, slice and dice, and the apple's going to be on one target. Khepri saves the other, and it's going to be good enough for Marcel's not to be able to get the kill. Abduct comes through. Ludark tries to find the target, can't. Blink forward, Jules with a sliver of HP. Touchdown, O-Ship, and Felzilla Goomba stomps down Marcel's. Finally, No Ping finds the rotation and finds the punishment. This Gold Fury, Ludark wants to get it. I don't know if she's got the right call here, but she has help from the Hunter.
It's risky. It's so risky with Nan in the mid lane now making this rotation happen. I don't know if there's any words from No Ping Esports to spot this out. They're trying to juggle this aggro.
Jump on him. Jump on him. Don't let Nan get the better of you. The dash forward is down. Black Dragons has to be aggressive here.
There's no mana at all coming from Ludark. The root is good. Onto the Khepri, sustain to damage him as well. I like the intentions from No Ping Esports. Whenever you don't have a tank to absorb those Gold Fury in hands, what do? You gotta juggle the aggro. Anyone that played MMORPGs before knows exactly what that means. You have 2 people trying to bounce the damage and just the attention of the boss.
I've learned how to juggle aggro with my time here at Hyros Esports.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
What do you guys juggle?
No, I just juggle aggro the player.
Oh.
Right now, Spexzilla's going to get a taste of that. Picked up, tossed down, and punched in the mouth. That's exactly how I juggle aggro. O-Ship with credit on that one, 10-4. As BD pushes themselves that much further in the lead.
Great lead, actually. 6,500 gold, almost to be exact. 14 minutes in. Not going to be able to connect on that slice and dice. Good heal coming from O-Ship. And look at all this damage. Nem Shield is down.
And one, and can't find the second. Black Dragons grab the Gold Fury on the left side of the map, despite Ludark and the support player, Denti, able to walk away no problem. And Black Dragons a little bit richer, stretching to about 8,000 gold in the lead.
Very close to that 8,000 gold marker. They need to be stopped before this gets really out of control.
That's why I loved that rotation play that Ludark made with Jules. I really wanted that Gold Fury to happen, because if that Gold Fury goes the way of no ping, we see a much tighter game, Totally.
It's very true, but in a 2v1 situation without any mana from Ludark, you can't realistically stay on this acting. Not only that, if you jump on him, now you're not going to have an escape to be able to get out, and then Agni AoE is pretty wide enough that he can maybe even win that 1v2, especially with this 2-level advantage over Ludark, even 3 levels over Felzilla.
Especially with that Soul Reaver online.
Yeah.
Gonna start chunking people. Ludark building into her penetration right about now.
Not finished stacking his Warlock staff either. Same stories can be said about Felzilla, working on those Transcendent stacks, and that's where the disparity really lies, is these players are just ahead in the stacking department for Black Dragons. Marcel is going for Devourer's Gauntlets, Philly finished stacking that item, whereas Nan is sitting at about 67 Warlock staff, roughly 30 more than Ludark.
Really interesting rare item that we get to see. Take a look at Kliz here, right next to his Warrior's Blessing, the Jade something or other. This is a rare item that we see on the Magical Guardians. We'll take a look at it next to the Nemean Lion. Right. What do you think about this pickup for Kliz?
It's an interesting item because, honestly, you're going to be able to lock people down. You're going to be slowing them consistently. But more importantly, it's to prevent some of the physical damage from the opposition. Now, you're not in Ares that gets benefited with your passive for having this aura, but it's not a bad idea, considering that it reduces physical power by 30 from all allied or enemy gods within 50 units. It's a similar item to Runic Shield, except it's the physical version of it.
And you see the Runic Shield purchased on the other side. Basically, what these items do is they really punish solo laners, not Guardians or Warriors, as damage in the middle lane might be enough to cut down Nod, but Ludark is off the money, won't find the hit with the ultimate, but luckily, Felzilla jumps over the wall and takes care of Nod. P-Bay is surrounded again by No Ping Esports jerseys, and Ludark could have cut him down right there. Half a dozen for No Ping. Black Dragons in a bad spot if they want to keep filtering in here. Kliz is stuck underneath the tower, and the team will be separated.
No Ping were just one step ahead of Black Dragons there. The rotations were a little bit too slow. Spexilla going to take a lot of damage, but a great stripe coming from Ludark. The jump is good. Ultimate coming out of Denti, keeping that player alive. Marcel's from the sky, going to force out the Aegis. Oshev wants to commit, though. Yeah,
blink forward from the bat is going to be strong. Kliz picks up the end hits. Double kill for the solo lane dog. So the tier 1 tower goes down after No Ping catches 2, but they lose 2 for it themselves.
Paralyzing Spit so on the mark from Kliz, despite struggling early game, is now with a 3-level advantage over Spexilla. This is what you're really relying on from your solo laner to make the better statement in the mid to late game, and that's exactly what Kliz is doing. Sitting at 2-0-1, he has plenty of physical defense with that Height of Nemean line, also stripping some away with that Jade Emperor's crown. And that's going to be a good look as these team fights are going to be consistently rolling forward.
And again, what I was talking about before we got into that mess in the middle lane is that the Emperor's Crown and the Runic Shield are there to punish these solo laners that play aggressively but don't build aggressively. You watch your power go down to basically 0 if you're not going to invest in any of those items. So nice adaptation from Kliz specifically to notice that and then build into some magical power himself, picking up the Void Stone.
Void Stone is just going to probably ensure that when he does use that Ghastly Breath, he's going to be hitting for true damage with a Paralyzing Spit afterwards. And not only that, Nan, he's going to be hitting harder with a Void Stone aura, all that protection shred from the Ghastly Breath. And I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen a Spear of Magus coming out of Nan quite yet. Looks like he's building into a Divine Ruin first, though.
Yeah, he's going to be looking for some of that anti-heal. There's a little bit of help as Black Dragons are looking for that solo lane. Kliz uses the ultimate and we'll get out of trouble, no problem.
Really interesting timing, I would say, interaction between Kliz's ultimate and the tether from Spexzilla. He just finished the ultimate and then got stunned out. If that happened a little bit later, the ultimate, he would have immune the stun.
And the magic trick is in tow. Black Dragon says, hey, look at my right hand. Nobody look at the left side of the map. Everybody look, we're grouped up and we're not doing anything. Because Marcel is going to solo the Gold Fury.
I mean, level 16 Rom, Devil's Gloves online. Plenty of sustain. Blinking in, double knock-up.
This needs to be a play for No Ping, but it looks like a play for Black Dragons. To the sky. Ooh, doesn't have the range, so Kliz is going to clean things up. Jumps on top, breathes on him, but a turnaround stun makes it so that O-Ship has to clean up the fight on the right side. Players jumping to safety for the tier 2 tower.
Oh, no!
He walked into the golden apple!
He did, but he took a lot of damage. Still surviving for the moment. Ludark is going to be the first victim, or rather the second victim from No Ping Esports. The beautiful pull yet again from P-Bay on the mark to Denti. Tier 2 tower is going to fall as well. Black Dragons demolish the tier 2. Thinking about even going for the Phoenix, Jules, and Spexzilla are the only remaining members to keep this one up.
Yeah, no question that Black Dragons goes for this Phoenix. Not only does the Camazotz have sustain for himself, but able to just walk up, had the minion wave already there. Black Dragons making use of a good situation and looking for the Firebird this early on.
7, 2, and 6. O-Ship. Doesn't matter if he has a Daji. That Camazotz proving to provide to be quite the nuisance for No Ping Esports, despite this first pick Nemesis that really didn't serve justifying the first pick. A lot of gods, you have to think like, yes, Nemesis is good, but did it do good this game? No. All right, so you have to think about like what exactly went wrong. It was the dual lane pressure from Black Dragons, too strong. Sylvanas and Rom, despite not being even that early drafted by Black Dragons, heavily outpressured this early drafted Ullr, and then got the invades afterwards. This Agni also, it was a combination of the dual lane and the Agni that just got 4, 5 red buff invades, and it was just a trickled down process.
I liked what I've seen out of Spexzilla and Ludark, to be fair. I think they've played well in the team fights, but the laning phase for No Ping just hasn't been there, not in game 1 nor game number 2, and I think that's really hamstrung them coming into this team fight area.
Marcel's got spotted out by Denti. The stun is good. Gonna try to force it, but it's gonna be in the sky instead. Jules' double dash is down. Gonna use the purification beats to negate the ultimate from Kliz. Meanwhile, O-Ship diving Spexzilla across the map.
Yep, just couldn't see him. Pull gonna be off the mark from P-Bay. But now here's the dash forward. Kempri's going to have to ultimate himself and going to fall down. But Marcel's just going to shoot him again. And shoot him again. And shoot him again. Marcel, shoot him again. Picking up the kill right there. 3 kills on the side of Black Dragons. 18 for them. No Ping trailing by 3 times as many.
Just slowly but surely getting all the towers off the map. Still with a tier 2 tower in the solo lane. But look what Ludark was doing. He tried to split push that solo lane for 2 reasons. One, obviously, because there was nothing that he could do to be of any use. He's already behind enough as it is level department. Number 2 reason was to finish stacking that Warlock staff. She was trying to make sure that she was going to get more health as the late game progresses. She is now in a pretty good spot to finish it, but the Black Dragons, with this player advantage, gets the Fire Giant 23 minutes in.
No way anybody can contest this one. Black Dragon's going to go take this Fire Giant easy peasy. And Nemesis down here getting lemon squeezied. A little bit of damage, jump forward, but the answer back. Love how Nemesis brings back right to the rest of the team. Taking flight will be the Camazotz player. O-Ship gonna land, and No Ping want this pick off, but the further they go for it, the further they put themselves in a position to get picked off.
They even sprinted, thinking that they could chase down the Camazotz, but speed buff and paired up with a Heartseeker too fast is the bad in the sky. And I like what O-Ship did. He was thinking about bringing the enemy towards his teammates, but then shifted towards the mid lane where there were fire minions instead.
Yeah, O-Ship was doing the same thing that we saw Jules do. Jules ran back into his teammates, and Felzilla was able to intercept. Oship had the same idea until the call from Black Dragons was to go back to base. You saw them all head back. Again, they had a lot of gold in hand. So Oship goes, okay, I hear that call. I'm not going to bring these guys to my teammates so we can have our backs interrupted. I'll bring them right to the lane, like you said, to meet up with the Fire Minions.
Black Dragons feeling very confident, going to try to get this last remaining Tier 2 tower. Mid Phoenix is due to respawn within 30 seconds or so, but there's going to be about 2 or 3 more Fire Minions down the lane in favor for Black Dragons, as this last tower is going to get sieged. No defense whatsoever from No Ping Esports, and that's what you have to do in Season 5. When you're this far behind, it is not worthwhile defending these Tier 2 towers. Hide behind these walls around the corners with your mid-mages, looking for the long-range abilities.
Here comes Black Dragons up on the right-hand side. Ludark gonna land the ultimate on top of Marcel's, cutting him down to about half HP. There's some help from Kliz, but the knockup from Pibe is so impressive. Again, with the follow-up pull, the follow-up route, the follow-up half kill, and there's the real kill. Marcel's puts down the Kepri support and is a 5-on-4.
And meanwhile, Oship was chasing Felzilla all across his own base. He barely survives, but not surviving is Spexzilla instead. His opposite lane duo partner. First game went to Black Dragons, and second game looks to be very similar case here, unless No Ping can keep this one going.
Decent amount of defense here, but ultimately the Titan down to about 25%. There's the last shot. Black Dragons 20-6 in 25 minutes of play here in game number 2. Confirm it. And that's going to be the series. So looking at our pricing, Black Dragons are the ones on top, $4,000.
But still, $2,000 goes to No Ping Esports. Great performance to them. If we take a look at the previous bracket for week number 4 of Phase 1, we're seeing the first semifinals. They beat out ET's Esports. Keep in mind, that was the finals matchup, ET's versus Black Dragons, where ET's won that first week.
No Ping has really been making leaps and bounds sort of behind the scenes, and especially in front of the scenes in that Brazilian Global Series. So a lot of talent emerging, but at the end of the day, the Black Dragons, well, no, they ain't dropping it like I'm dropping my pen. Fantastic stuff coming out from these guys. Veteran leadership, veteran play. It's going to be really tough to knock those guys down. We've got about an hour before the European SPL starts. Hopefully you'll join us. Stay tuned, and we'll see you then.